Alright, welcome back to Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic Lesson Non-Classic. This is episode number 3488, Doubleshot number 3382. Yes, I do know for a fact that I'm 12 episodes away from episode 3400. So for this one, we're discussing two Star Trek trades. Now, I've been hoping for some time that this app will get their hands on these two trades. And I was for a while, I was thinking maybe they might not, because it seemed like it was a while before they finally decided to add more trades to this thing. And then they finally put these on there after I finished reviewing Volume 4 of both of these two like a few months ago. But we have Star Trek Volume 5, When the Walls Fall. Yeah, this actually is the penultimate trade to collect issues from this run for Star Trek, because there's actually one more. The Lower War, which I'm very much looking forward to reviewing that. I also have the fifth Defiant trade on here too. This collects issues 25 to 30 of Star Trek, Volume 2. Written by Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing. Artwork by for issue 25 is Lena Kogos and Angel Hernandez. Is issue 26. 27 is Michael Ford. Tess Ford is 26, 29, and 30 is Travis Mercer. And so basically we have a series of happens. You also have this word ad put here too. We start with Tom Paris. It's like, oh yeah, congratulations, you're finally there. Then go home. And Data's still ahead from the previous arc. He has not got a new body. He will get a new body by the time this trade ends. Yeah, everybody's like in the meeting here. And they talk for a while, and of course everybody's like so relaxed. Like Tom's hanging out with his daughter Meryl. And then of course we have the Theseus take on Species 8472. Yes, whichever gets knocked out. And yeah, the comic arc does okay job recreating the actual creatures. Which, fun fact about Species 8472. They are the first and to date, the only original alien species. They were the first alien species conceived in CGI. Yes, they had a Gordon Enterprise, which was CG as well, but this was the very first one they did. The one they didn't use Species 8472 that much on the show. Like, they only appeared in roughly 4 episodes. They appeared in 2-part Scorpion. There was a one-off return for them when they got on the Erosion, and then they appeared and sort of this holographic thing where Species 8472 was posing as Earthlings in this space station. Yeah, I think this may be the first comic appearance of Species 8472 that I know of. They did also appear in one video game that I know of. They did appear in Star Trek Voyage Elite Force. Great game, by the way. I played it. I played most of the game on PS2. I got to the final boss, but I wasn't able to beat it. I've seen the car beat it. But, though, yes, they, in case you're curious, though, did they appear in the Elite Force, in the Voyage Elite Force comic? Sadly, no, they never appeared there, but they did appear in the game. So basically, they fight them off, and everybody's all good. And then, of course, basically, then we have our Native American character, I don't remember her name. Or basically, it's like, oh, daughter die like this. Then she slaps him. Or didn't been protecting him, we slap again. Right, okay. So, yeah. Face off against Invasion by Species 8472. And then, for some weird reason, we have, believe it or not, the Native American, I don't remember this woman's name, I kind of forgot her name. She gets slapped by Species 82 posing as Captain Janeway. Well, in the current timeline, she is Admiral Janeway. And after they fend them off, they finally get out to full space because sorry about that. Sorry about the music. I'm hoping that YouTube is commentary. I had the comment pop up on here. So, everybody's back to normal. And then they got through space, and then they end up in the Kelvin timeline. Here's what I know, because basically we see Chris Pine's Captain Kirk. Yep. And a very interesting little mini crossover. Yes. And of course, they point out that the Enterprise they know doesn't look like this at all. Of course, there's an alternate timeline. This is where they ended up. And we even have a scene where we have Prime Scotty interacting with Kelvin timeline Scotty. Yes, I thought that was really cool. And then we also have the android who's part of the ship who only appeared Into Darkness. He did not appear in the Beyond. He interacts with Data, who gets a brand new body. We have our Vulcan interact with Spock. Of course, Cisco interacts with Cisco. We actually also have Dr. Crusher meet up with Dr. McCoy. Which, 124 years old, was one of the professors. And the one thing we forgot to mention, but they also briefly met up on the... Well, actually, no, it was actually Data. He did pop up in the Enterprise D. Then, of course, we actually also have Lily talking to Uhura. Yes. And, of course, in relation to Hoshi, my ancestor. Really? Yeah, and I love the fact we actually have the two skies interact. I thought was really cool. Yeah, this is just a really good comic issue. And of course, like in Starfleet to help them out, sent Big Fleet, and yeah, going to the Beta Quadrant, and then Cisco gets called away to frickin' Prophets. Well, not right away, of course. Then we have him basically debate going back. He's looking at a picture of his wife, son, and daughter with his baseball. And then they arrive back at Bajor, because the wormhole's there. Then the book becomes really kind of interesting, to say the least. Everyone goes dinner at Cisco's quarters. Actually, not his quarters, but like the... Well, version of, like, basically a ready room. Something he would do on DS9 for a couple episodes. He would actually cook them... Like, not use replicators, he actually cook the meal himself, like Neil O'Brien's. Everyone has a good food. And then you have Dr. Crusher talking to Cisco about himself. Talk about her late husband, Jack. How about the emissary? And then we have Scotty just drinking in the engineering. We see a Native American character basically having sex with the Andorian woman, whose last name is Sato. Yeah, this came completely out of nowhere, seeing this. Like, I had to basically zoom into who... I can tell one's the Andorian woman. I had to through this. Oh, it's the American woman because of the earrings. Yeah, this came completely out of nowhere, and it was never mentioned again. It's like, randomly, like, oh yeah, let's have our two original female characters in this book have sex. Fine, whatever. And of course, everyone's all celebrating. Of course, Cisco initiates a wedding with two of the crew. And everything's all going good. It goes in the wormhole. And my phone decided to... Okay. Yeah, it goes in the wormhole. And then spends the next couple issues inside the wormhole. In the Celestial Temple. Because, of course, they're with the prophets. And he's acting like he is there. He's there for a little while. Everyone gets sucked in and they all disappear. He's there with his baseball. And then meets up with some ancient Bajorans who act like they're hunters from fantasy times. And basically he kind of lives in this Celestial Temple for quite a while. How long past the time? It looks like roughly about 20-30 years because his hair turns gray. Though he's still bold. The artwork does change throughout this issue. He does initiate a wedding, of course. It's like, from the prophet's point of view, he's where he needs to be. And this lasts for roughly 2 or 3 issues. Sees the version of Jake is like, want everybody back, but nope, they're just the prophets taking the form. We do see a page of pretty much basically all of the orbs. There is the orb contemplation, destruction, creation, prophecy and change, journey, horizon, emissary, destination, wisdom, and time. Really cool the fact that the artist basically just recreated these orbs, which some of them did appear in the show. Emissary, the Orb Emissary did not actually appear in the show until DS9 Season 7. Prophecy and Change and Time One appeared a couple times on there. Mostly put to deal with time travel episodes. And Prophecy and Change basically were one of the episodes, which foretold something happened later on. So we saw the stuff here, and of course we go to space. I want to screw it back, and of course the prophecy can form of them, but it's not them. It's like, should we not exist? Wrong goddamn answer. Like, I am a captain. And basically he kind of forced his way out of the portal, and then he decides, even though I'm gone, Kahless will be his emissary. Yes, Kahless, who in this series is basically picked as a villain. Yep, and then finally we see Kahless, what the heck he's up to. Yeah, this also plays a role in the Yeah, for some reason, I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's my phone. I think it might be the we see him basically debating stuff, and this issue here, I think this is like the penultimate issue of this collector's trade, where he interacts with basically the original Kahless. It's all focused on him, and then eventually they go back to Cisco, where it says to continue low. I think it was issue 30, and that's how that wraps up. My only problem with the trade itself is how it's done in the app, where for some reason when I read it, there's like an error, and I don't know, it's really weird. But overall, this was in fact really good. I give our penultimate trade for Star Trek a 9 out of 10. Next up we have is Star Trek Defiant Volume, I believe this is also Volume 5 as well. Yes, Volume 5, No Old Warriors, where basically this is of course done by Christopher Cantwell. And this collects issues 22 to 25 of the series. So we have several different storylines here. We have Kirk and Alexander. Yeah, Kirk. We have Worf and Alexander, where Alexander is going on this ritual to regain his honor because of the blood crossover. He lost his honor, and he goes to this particular trial to regain it. Of course, Martok's there to help him, requested by. But actually, one of the tests actually has him fight two members of the House of Martok. One of them happens to be his aunt. Yes, his aunt. They mention, oh yeah, the younger sister of your slain mother, slain by the traitor Duras. Yeah, he's called a traitor because basically he colluded with the Romulans. Yes, that's why basically the House of Duras basically in Star Trek has always picked as evil. It's how they're written. And he also deals with basically like corruption at a prison camp, which he has sort of a corporate review of the guy later on, and make some changes. I'll be back. And then after all this, he basically puts his hand on a sword, on a knife, and then regains honor. Similar to what happened with Worf during Redemption, where his own ritual regaining it during a two-part redemption. It was in the first part. He regained it by helping Gowron fight off an attack from the House Duras. So he's like gripping the sword, shed blood, and he got his honor restored. In the case of Miles O'Brien is here, wondering, and of course then we see also our Orion is here too. Lore is not here. He basically, the ending of this does have the Lore War. Oh, at the end of the Star Trek trade, he does, I think it's brought up in this book here, that Dave does get a brand new body, but it's a weird looking body. It's like a makeshift body for him, because he's just a head. And of course, you also have Ro Laren here. B'Elanna basically is in charge of Defiant, tasked to give it back to DS9. because, of course, basically what else to do with it. And then there's also a conflict over what they refer to as the former Dominion stuff, where you have, I think it was a Cardassian ship and a Starfleet ship, and the three captains like fighting each other. I'm like, what? Yeah, I thought that was really weird. But this book overall was a lot of fun to read. Oh my gosh, this book was so good. Now, a bad issue in these 4 issues over here, and the very next trade, which we Star Trek Global War, will be the conclusion of all of this. The end of this really awesome run for Star Trek, in my honest opinion. So, before I close this out here, by the way, I give this book here a 10 out of 10. I give also give the Star Trek Volume 5 also 10 out of 10. So, the depiction of a lesbian couple in the Prime timeline, I don't have a problem with it. The reason why, because it's original characters that Colin Kelly Jackson is created, so it's no problem. Oh, in case you're curious though, with the whole Uhura knowing who Oshi is, really weird about that is that because the Kelvin timeline is set from the Prime timeline, pretty much Enterprise is canon to the Kelvin timeline. Yes, they established this in the movie Star Trek Into Darkness, where there was a model of the NX-01 Enterprise on Marcus's desk. Yes, they established that there. But this book overall, like I said, was really good. They do renown with Kahless. Yes, there's a follow-up with Kahless from issue 30 that is crossover this book here, where Kahless basically is on his own path of redemption here. Yeah, overall, good stuff here. So that's pretty much it for today's video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, to notifications. When I get back, I'm going to work on a few episodes of Blue SWAT, and then work on Witch Adler, Case Closed, Witch Adler, and Project Red. Okay, thanks, people. Bye.